At our wedding anniversary dinner, my wife said, "I'm not your property. I'm opening our marriage." She kissed my best friend and left with him. I looked around the table at my shocked family, then calmly stood up and said, "Actually, I have an announcement too." I pulled out my phone and showed everyone the pregnancy test photo I'd taken that morning. Brandon's wife, Rachel, is 8 weeks pregnant. Congratulations, you're going to be a stepdad. The color drained from Brandon's face. My wife's triumphant smirk vanished instantly. See, Rachel had called me crying at 6 a.m. She'd found Brandon's burner phone with months of messages to my wife, hotel bookings, love letters, the whole affair laid out in black and white. Rachel wasn't just devastated. She was furious and pregnant and a divorce attorney. "Rachel's already filed the papers," I continued, watching Brandon panic. "She's going for everything. The house, the business, full custody. She documented everything." My wife tried to grab Brandon's arm, but he was already backing away. "This isn't what we planned," she whispered. "Oh, and honey," I said, pulling out another document. "Remember that promotion you've been working toward? Your boss got a very interesting email this morning about company policy violations." She stared at me in horror. "You didn't." "I didn't have to. Rachel's very thorough when she's angry." Brandon was already at the door, phone pressed to his ear, probably calling Rachel. My wife looked around the silent room, finally realizing she'd lost everything for a man who just abandoned her. But I wasn't done. "There's more," I said, enjoying the terror in her eyes. "Rachel found out about the joint credit card you opened, the one with $30,000 in charges for your romantic getaways. Guess who's responsible for that debt now that Brandon's assets are frozen?" My mother-in-law spoke up. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, Teresa, you might want to call your advisor. Your daughter used you as co-signer on that apartment lease downtown, the one for her business meetings. Rachel's law firm is very interested in that fraudulent application." My wife went white. "You can't prove any of this." "I don't need to," I smiled. "Rachel has the bank records, hotel surveillance footage, and testimony from the private investigator you were too careless to notice." The room erupted. My dad started laughing. My mom was taking pictures of my wife's horrified expression. My nephew pulled out his phone to record. "One more thing," I announced, and the room went silent. "Rachel wants to meet tomorrow, both of you, at her law office. Something about a civil suit for alienation of affection and emotional distress. She's seeking $500,000 in damages." Brandon went pale. My wife stumbled backward, knocking over her chair. "But wait," I continued, checking my phone. "Rachel says the story just went live on her legal blog. When your husband's affair partner thinks she's won, a case study. It's got 15,000 views already." My wife started hyperventilating. Brandon was frantically trying to call someone, hands shaking so badly he kept dropping his phone. "Rachel's firm specializes in high-profile divorces. Every lawyer in the city will know about this by tomorrow. Good luck finding representation." My wife collapsed into her chair, sobbing. "This will ruin everything." "Everything was already ruined when you decided to humiliate me in front of my family," I replied calmly. "Now everyone sees who you really are." Brandon managed to call someone. I could hear him explaining he needed a place to stay. Rachel had changed the locks. Teresa stood up. "I need to call my lawyer immediately," she announced, face ashen. "One more thing," I said, pulling out my tablet. "Rachel sent this earlier. I showed everyone surveillance footage of Brandon and my wife entering the apartment together multiple times over 6 months." My nephew whistled. "You guys got completely played." As I sat back down to finish my anniversary dinner, I watched my wife finally understand that actions have consequences. She'd wanted to destroy our marriage publicly. Mission accomplished. She just hadn't expected to be the only casualty. Brandon bolted for the parking lot. My wife followed, screaming his name, but his car was already gone. My dad raised his wine glass to new beginnings. Sometimes karma doesn't need your help. It just needs good timing and a really pissed off divorce attorney.